while the maternal mortality rate is abysmal and we need to fix that, it's like not the only thing that we really should be aiming for. And, I constantly want to, ask everyone who's working on this, like, what are we aiming for? What does good look like? What does good look like from 12 months before you actually think about trying to conceive through, your kid is 5? What does that actually look like for mom's health? And how do we define good?
Yeah. That's a great question.
Thought-provoking. I like to share.
Yeah, that's a great question.
No, it's an important question because, I mean, there's these statements and comments being made like, why is birth rate going down in this country? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. It's like we want to be taken seriously as mothers. We want to have reliable information, especially as this next generation comes up that they are dependent on and reliant on and expecting the information to be given to them is to be like legit. Like, I want to be able to go on an app like Zenith. I want to be able to get this information. You can't give me that in 2025, right?
And she kind of got up on this panel and they asked, the nice magic wand question at the end, what's one thing that you wish was different about maternal health care in this country? And she said, can we stop measuring success based on whether or not mom died? And it was very, it was kind of a humbling moment because everyone in the room kind of looked around and she continued on to say, that is our only benchmark right now. That is like what we're all working towards. I bet if we asked everyone in this room who is actively working on maternal health, who is actively working on these problems from a healthcare perspective, from a policy perspective, we would all have different answers in terms of like what we're aiming for, in terms of what good actually looks like. And as a healthcare community, we all really need to align on that. Beyond just mom doesn't die during childbirth, to be able to make progress in this area.
Does it make the science more difficult that it is so variable, like not only from woman to woman, but pregnancy to pregnancy for individual women? Does that make it harder to actually find solid answers, or is it still just a matter of gathering enough data and you can figure it out?
It's largely a data scale problem. Practically speaking, nobody is really at that scale yet, so it does make it a lot more challenging. And a lot of the findings have to be kind of more generalizable because really in a lot of these things, it's like you want to kind of narrow down or at least account for things like demographic differences. I talked about weight gain. What was your starting BMI? What was your starting weight? How tall are you? All of these different things that to come up with meaningful answers, you really need to kind of account for, which ultimately is just a problem solved by scale of data. This is really like kind of the founding ethos of the company, which is what would it take to answer some of these questions with more certainty and not just give an answer that says the research isn't conclusive, we don't really know, there are all these risks, there are all these potential benefits, make your own decision. But how do we actually say the research has shown these risks occur this % of the time in these types of scenarios? And so the Pregnancy Evidence Project is really what we hope to be that kind of largest scale maternal health patient registry where moms can opt in. So there's a lot of talk about this right now, like in the women's health space and specifically the reproductive health space around how my data that I might put into Aura or Flow or some of these other apps is actually like used and, kind of extracted. The Pregnancy Evidence Project is a fully kind of contained, fully IRB governed research project that sits within Zenith. And so you can ask Penny as many questions as you want. None of that data is used for the Pregnancy Evidence Project. I'll start with the part you just described, which is what we call our Penny tool. Penny is a nickname for your pregnancy evidence navigator. And Penny basically is an AI-enabled tool where you can ask any of your pregnancy questions, so skip Dr. Google, and come straight to Penny. What happens on the back end, for those who are curious, is let's just run with the melatonin example for a minute. Let's say your question is, can I take melatonin while I'm pregnant? It's the middle of the night, you're standing in front of the medicine cabinet, what do I do? Penny will basically... There's 2 steps. So I always like to call out that it's not, chat GPT style, let's do generative AI and write a poem about melatonin. We first search against kind of our ranked list of approved sources. So we categorize things into peer-reviewed research papers, medical and kind of academic guidelines, things like the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology when they have clinical guidelines on certain questions. And then the AI element is really in kind of summarizing and collating everything from those sources. There are some really amazing pockets of great data sets, but they're just siloed. Their registries being run out of academic medical centers. So if you don't live within driving distance of Mass General Hospital and you're not going to go deliver your baby there, you're probably not going to be included in that data set. And so my point of view is always like, more is better. This isn't a zero-sum thing where someone's going to like win women's health data and everyone needs to be off building their silos in the corner. I really think that if we can figure out how to kind of connect all of these great kind of niche data sources that already exist, we're well on our way.
Yeah, got to stop making it a competition. Make it a cooperation.
Like in population health data is really important. Even from my time where I worked on the payer side or insurance carrier, whatever words you want to use, we were always looking at population health data.
Thanks for joining us on the Healthcare Uprising. Make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons before you go, and take a moment to think of a friend and hit that share button. You can find us on all the major audio platforms, and we've got video on YouTube and Patreon, patreon.com/healthcareuprising, if you want to watch us in action.
You can also find us on social media on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search Healthcare Uprising to find us. And if you're a new company or a creator with a cool new product for the healthcare space, or if you're someone with a personal healthcare journey and you'd like to share it with us here at The Uprising, please email us at healthcareuprising@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you about coming on the show. That's all for this dose of Healthcare Uprising. Till the next time, keep looking for the good in the world, because sometimes it's where you least expect it.
This has been a Shut Up production.